Happy Friday, Lakeshore family. And last week, Pastor Chris talked about Nehemiah 3 and 4, and he talked about the strategy that Nehemiah and the Israelites used to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. There's a verse in chapter 4 where the people of Israel had worked with their entire heart rebuilding the wall, and they were facing opposition. But a little bit further down, if you read a little further down, they did a lot like what we do sometimes. They felt discouraged. They complained that their strength was gone, and that there was so much rubble. But Nehemiah prayed, and through it he reminded them not to be afraid. God is great, and he is awesome, and he fights for them, so they need to keep fighting. And this reminds me actually of my very favorite book of the Bible, chapter of the Bible, and that's Romans 8. There's so many lessons in that one chapter that we can learn from Paul as he's teaching. There's the lesson that we're no longer condemned to sin and death because of Jesus's sin offering. That the Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead is the same Spirit that lives within us. That the sufferings and the groaning of the world is nothing compared to the hope of redemption that we have for the future. And that the Spirit and Jesus both intercede for us. Sometimes when we don't even know what to think or say or believe. And that God is for us. There is no reason to fear because nothing can come against us. And so those are some of the lessons that you learn from chapter 8. My most favorite part, though, is verses 35 to 39. Let me read that for you. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? As it is written, for your sake we face death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, nor height or depth, or anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of Christ Jesus. That verse just reminds me so much of God's love for me. And since this is February in the month of love, I wanted to share that with you also. These verses remind us that there is nothing, no one that can separate us from the love of Christ. That's a great reminder if you're facing an adversity, if you're facing opposition, or you're facing anxiety or frustration, just like the Israelites were. Nothing can separate you from the love of Christ. No sickness or disease, because he's there. Anger, discouragement, anxiety, fear, disappointment, he's there. In love and in hope, he's there. In financial hardship, emotional hardship, he's there. In our past failures, in our future success, he's there. Nothing in the entirety of creation will ever separate us from his love. That is a comfort to me, and I hope that it's a comfort to you. In times where we feel defeated or discouraged or tired or frustrated or angry, or maybe we're at odds with those around us, pray and remember the promise in Romans 8. Don't be afraid. The Lord is great and awesome, and nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. If we remember those things, our words, thoughts, and actions towards other people reflect that same love. And that love is a love that can restore lives and relationships in Jesus Christ. I hope you have a great weekend.